Me and Chicky got back onto the homestead about a couple hours ago, 2 or 3 hours ago. And we had a very pleasant trip out to the farm and back. I stopped and got the chickens feed and got some extra pine shavings while I was out. And we enjoyed an Arby's roast beef. We split one. So it was a really nice trip. It was a nice trip off the homestead, and any trip with Chiggy is always pleasant. Now we're back on the homestead, and I've been back trying to get my refrigerator cleaned out, in the sense that I had a lot of stuff in there that if I didn't do something with it, it was going to go to waste. Now this is not preserving stuff, this is just general leftover stuff. So I set a plan, and I got some stuff out of the fridge, and I got it into the freezer. And let me show you what I did. It's not a lot of stuff, and really I'm putting it into the freezer, the big deep freeze Chester freezer, when I'm going to be cleaning it out tomorrow. But I don't have room for it in my fridge freezer because it's got to be cleaned out too. So what I did was, my friend back home, when I went back home this past week, she had a container of the Rocco's hot dog sauce, and we were talking about hot dog sauce and how I didn't have any, and I was wanting hot dogs the other day. So she gave it to me, and I divvied it up into 4 different servings, and I got those in individual packages in here and labeled, of course. And then earlier in the week, I got a hot and ready pizza from our local Giovanni's. Once I eat 2 or 3 pieces of it, I'm kind of over it for a while, and before I've always just let it dry out in the fridge. Well, I took my leftovers this time, put parchment paper between them, and I'm going to put them into the freezer so that the next time I have a craving for it, I don't have to go buy any. So this is like getting 2 cravings in one kind of deal. So, and I labeled that. And then I had a beef smoked sausage I had bought, one of those, it's like a link, and I'd had it for a couple weeks, and I thought, well, I need to either eat it or do something with it. And this is something I have to be in the mood for. I can't just say, well, I'm going to have that today. Usually I fix fried potatoes with it, and onions and peppers, sometimes cabbage, just depends on my mood. So I cut that up, and I got 5 servings out of that. I cut it into slices. So, and I labeled that. And so I get those put into the freezer, and I found some peppers. I don't know if you can see them from my garden in the fridge that I somehow had overlooked. So I'm going to cut those up, get them into the freezer, and then I picked all the rest of my tomatoes I had last night, whether they were big, small, or otherwise. And they came, I got this bucket full, plus a few larger ones. So I need to go through and pick out the ones that are not shiny, because I didn't realize it at the time, but they say you're not supposed to eat them until they get shiny. And I'm going to use these in conjunction with my few larger ones I have. And hopefully I will have enough overall in the green ones to make my green salsa this year. So that's my plan with those. My aunt gave me a box of spaghetti because she'd been given 2 and she didn't want it. And what I do is I take it and I break it in half, and then I put it into pickle jars. And then that way it keeps longer. So I have 2 of these pickle jars. One's in the long-term pantry, and one will go in my working pantry. And I was completely out of spaghetti, so that really was very good timing on her part. Then finally, let me get you show you this. When I took her order, her part of her order up to her, sitting next to her door in a box was 3 pitty pan squash. And I asked her, I said, where did you get the pitty pan squash? The patty pan squash. She said, the what? I said, the patty pan squash. She said, I thought that was a gourd, you just let it dry out and it rattled around. I said, no, it's an edible squash. It's a patty pan. And she said she'd gotten it from the food bank because her husband's daughter participates in a thrift shop that's thrift shop food bank. And when they have extra stuff, she brings it to them. And so I got 3 patty pans, and I've been researching how to use them. And the one way I really like to use one of them is as a Mexican stuffed patty pan. They say you basically just put everything you put in a taco in it. So I'm looking forward to trying that. And then I've got 2 other ones that I think I'm going to slice up real thin. I saw Rene over at, I can't remember the name of her channel. I'll try and link it in the description. I forget, but her name is Rene, and she slices hers really thin, dehydrates them, and then uses them later in soups and stews. And I'm thinking maybe rehydrating them, and that you could rehydrate them and roast them as well. So I'm going to try that. So I'm tickled. I did pretty good today so far. I've still got some work I want to do. I've got kit 2 picking some kidney beans that need to be hulled. I've still got to do some work for clients, and so, you know, it's about 3 or 4 o'clock, and I still got a full day's worth of stuff to do, so I better get moving. Let me apologize for the lighting. The day got away from me. I had to go out and do my trimming around the yard, finish that up, and I just forgot all about needing to do these peppers. So I'm going to get these cut up and get them ready to go into the dehydrator, because I think my tomatoes are done. Let me pour this water off. That's where I had them soaking. pumpkin. So I've already changed my mind midstream. I'm going to just sock these into the freezer, no more than there are. I really don't want to run the dehydrator for this little bit. I have some colored ones down there, the small colored ones, that I will probably dehydrate. Use some of them and stuff them for stuffed pepper. And these I will just put in the freezer, take out when I need them. And they'll be absolutely delicious just the same. And with the bigger chunks, I will have more of a choice on how to use them. And I will label that and get it in the freezer. And that's it for our day here on the homestead. I still have to put the chickens up and get the dishes done and get some client work done. I'm going to take these peppers out to the compost pile, and then we'll be able to call it a day. Thank you for visiting today. I appreciate it. I enjoyed having you here, and I appreciate your support. Chiggy always waits the most in an opportune moment to run his mouth, but as always, from my homestead to yours, blessings. Good night, y'all.